Black Talk Radio Network is made possible in part with help from the Black Talk Media Project, a North Carolina-based nonprofit engaged in the production and distribution of independent digital black media. Find out more by going to blacktalkradionetwork.com or blacktalkmediaproject.org and look for the menu tab, Crowdfunding Black Media. Black Talk Media Project, helping to provide you with new black media for the new millennium. And opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Welcome into the Lotus Place. It is Wednesday, November the 9th, and it is the day after the 2016 elections here in the United States. So let me welcome in all of our listeners and callers, and you can join in. We are on a new system tonight, so let me see if Scotty is on the line. Scotty, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Scotty, I had called in to I guess it was the number that I was sent by Uber, so I was sitting.
Yeah,
sitting on
I
that
asked
line.
you to set up. I asked all the hosts to set up their own accounts because then I can add you as an administrator. Because the way it's right now is anybody can unmute people as y'all have been unmuting yourselves. So it's a new conference. I'm trying to learn it, but to add you to a team, the person has to have their own account. So then I can add you to the Black Talk Media Project's business account for Black Talk Radio, and then you could take more control and have more interaction. So that's what it is. It's no pen. Our telephone number is a toll-free number again for the U.S. and Canada, 866-510-9025. If you go to uberconference.com/Black Talk Radio Network, you can also connect through your computer. There are international numbers there as well for 50 different countries. So there's a lot of ways for you to contact, and we think this will be better. At least our listeners and callers won't be charged 1 cent a minute by T-Mobile and the other carriers.
Right, that's right. I did set up that account. So I sent you that information, and I hope it's all.
I'm going to try to have a class for us on the weekend. It's going to have to be on a Saturday or a Sunday, but I'm going to set up a class.
That'll be great, because I do have some questions. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, how are you, Scotty?
I'm feeling the same as I did yesterday. Gotta work and do everything I can that's in my power to end this system of slavery and bring some relief to our people globally on the planet. So I'm doing the same. I'm doing better than most. But I'm surviving.
I know that's right. All right. Yeah, and I was listening to a little bit of the abolitionist radio before we started this show. So if people are not tuning in to the abolitionist radio prior to the Lotus Place radio show, do that, because the brothers are sharing some powerful information, definitely. And all the other shows that are featured on Black Talk Radio Network. And always, as we always mention, do go onto the page and donate and listen to some of the other shows. You can donate any amount, and you can also donate $25 and receive a Black Talk Radio, Black Talk Black. What is this guy? I'm so sorry. Black Talk Radio Matters T-shirt.
Right. We're trying to make black radio stations matter. And our mission as a nonprofit is to spread independent black radio. So, we lost a bunch of radio stations, and y'all know people always say, and they're some are complaining, some are just making an accurate observation that we don't have any more independent black radio stations, and we got a bunch of comedians posing as relationship experts or political analysts and things of that nature, and that's hurting our people. So our mission as a nonprofit is to spread black talk radio, whether it's in partnership with people who want to start for-profit businesses and run a digital radio station, or if it's with anybody that want to learn, or other nonprofits. So that's what we about. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Now, let me see. We should have Brother Brown on the line. I do see his number here, and I unmuted him because I do want to be able to have control. Okay, that Brother Brown is. Hey, Brother Brown, what's up?
How you doing? Glad you're home.
I'm well.
Yes, glad you're
actually, home. I am so glad I'm home. I just came in like at 8 o'clock, so I had to get here, drop my bags off, get situated, get on this new system, and bring it live to everyone because I just had to come on tonight, coming back in from Ohio. And so tonight we're talking about the 2016 election, and I believe Brother Brown wants to also add to that topic, like what is our plan going forward, which we always need a plan. So before we get into the plan, Brother Brown, we want to just kind of talk a little bit about the election, and as the results were coming in last night, I know there were many people that thought that Hillary Clinton would be a shoo-in. In all honesty, I really did think, I thought that she may win. And then, we had talked about this before, Brother Brown, how the cycle goes. We had, 2 years of Republican and Democrat, and, it was just time for, not 2 years, but two terms of a Democratic president. So it was actually time for a Republican anyway. I tell you one thing, watching those results come in, and I'm going to go through a few of the states and the electoral votes, and people were like, oh, but she won the popular vote. The popular vote does not matter. And we were, talking about electoral votes and the voting process, and, Hillary got her ass spanked last night. She got it spanked, royally spanked. And it is a complete embarrassment to the Hillary Clinton campaign. You got whipped by a con artist. That's bad.
Well, I'm going to tell you what we say in the street. You read them and you weep. But you got to realize you had two con artists playing us.
Exactly.
And that's the part we don't understand. You had two people on the same page who are billionaires, and they played us like a goddamn fine-tuned piano. Because they already knew what their game plan. So
they already knew what their little game plan was.
Yeah. And, the thing about it is that my point is, how much longer is it going to take for us to educate ourselves and to understand that the process of white supremacy and racism when it comes to the political arena is not a process that benefits us. We have continuously tried to misunderstand what they're doing. And in doing so, we get caught up. And it's nothing that we can do, you understand me, to rectify our ignorance after 400 years of foolishness. We have continuously tried to rely upon something that was not put in place for us anyway. And I don't see the logic in continuously saying to ourselves, where do we go now? Or what do we do? If you don't know what to do, excuse me, after 400 or 500 years, then you might as well get out the way. You might as well just sit
a lot
down.
of people they just don't know. You have so many of these people that are just now coming into, well, they call themselves coming into the movement, but just tweeting and stuff like that, I don't call it being a part of the movement. I just call it tweeting.
Right. We had a movement before there was even any tweeting, or before there was even on the internet. And I know that some of these people, this is new to them, and I clearly understand that. But the best way is just like going to school. You pay attention to the teacher. And if you don't pay attention to the teacher, then you know you won't go to the next grade level. So we have to teach our people that you have to be taught. But you can't be taught forever. Because you don't stay in the first grade until you're 18 years old.
Okay. And it takes a tremendous amount of reading and studying and research. And I think that what some of these people want to do, it's like they want to be able to read one or two books and then have a comprehensive knowledge of the dynamics of our situation. And that's just not possible. It takes hours upon hours and years to study this information, because it's a magnitude of information. And you just can't read one or two books and say, okay, I got it, that's it, I'm an activist, I'm in the movement, I'm get out here, I'm organized. No, it don't work like that. It doesn't work. And you going to one protest does not make you an activist.
No. I was talking to somebody this evening, and they were saying that Al Sharpton had called a meet. And I asked, call a meeting of who?
For what?
And they said, well, he called a meeting of all the black leaders. I said, well, where are they at?
Oh, Lord.
Good for you.
And my point is
black
that,
leaders.
Yeah, we discussed that earlier. We don't have any black leaders. So if you're talking about the NAACP, the Urban League, whoever else, National Action Network, they're not leaders. Okay, they haven't led nobody nowhere. And if we're going to continue to...
into complete, utter darkness.
Right. And if we're going to continue to try to think for 1 minute that they are leaders, then I question the mentality of the people who think that they are leaders. And I don't want to be sarcastic, and people say, well, you're always criticizing, but we're living in critical times. We have to face up to that reality. We're living in times just like we did. And when me and you discussed this election some months back, I told you, I said, if people want to take recognition of what has happened, I said, look at the presidential election of 1876. And it's clearly indicated that what happened in 1876, it has happened before, and it happened again, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, but it happens to us because we are unprepared to do for self.
Oh, let me turn this down. I agree with you, Brother Brown, and moving forward, I would say that we should not sit on our laurels like we did with Obama. We must hold each of our representatives, our elected school board members, and on up accountable.
That's right.
If people think that you just go and cast your vote and then that's it, then that's the problem right there. We totally have to be engaged if you want to be a part of this whole voting system then be a part of it. Don't just go out and vote, but actually be a part of the whole political operation. You should know what your House district is and who your congressperson is, and go and visit them. Call them. Put that number in your phone like we do other phone numbers. Know the address. It's in your neighborhood, and go and visit them and talk to them about your concerns. Hold them accountable. Make them work. They're public servants. Brother Brown, you know marijuana was legalized for either medicinal or recreational use. And let me see, California already had marijuana approved for medicinal purposes. But now, let's see, recreational, Massachusetts, Maine, and Nevada approved recreational legalization of marijuana.
Well, you know, we have a struggle going on up here in Maryland that when they legalize marijuana for medicinal purposes, a company was formed that had the facilities to actually grow marijuana. We have all the facilities, and they were denied the right to actually move forward with the production. So the case is right now in federal court because it's racism. It's overt, blatant racism due to the fact that nobody gave these people the same opportunity that they gave the white people that own the same type of greenhouses. And so the case right now is in court. And so I'm going to see how that's going to turn out because, you know, I mean, it's an investment. It's just like anything else. It's an investment project. And if we can go to jail for marijuana, then why can't we have the right to grow marijuana? You know,
yeah, I definitely think that people that have previously been in that business on the illegal side, now that it's legal, I would say pack your bags and move somewhere where you can be a part of the business. Work on a nursery, a clip. I think I read somewhere that people in California are making like $90,000 a year just trimming, being trimmers.
Right. And to buy land in California, see, you can have California is one of the states that you can have a dual citizenship in. Yeah, I can be a citizen of Maryland and also be a citizen of California. The only thing I need, and you can have dual driver license. The only thing you need in California is to have a legal address. To show that you have a house in California, that you rent a place in the state of California, and you can have dual address.
There's still, Brother Brown, black farmers around the country because I've interviewed one of those associations, and I asked him about, this was 3 years ago, I asked him. He said black farmers are ready for the cannabis business. So, you know,
right.
So, yeah, I'm glad people looking at that, and I hope that black people get to take advantage of that.
I know that's right, because I know I've thought about moving to California and working on a nursery for a few years and think about and consider opening up a dispensary. But California is just so expensive, though. And I'm hoping that next legislative session here in Texas that we can put that back on the ballot, at least medicinal, because there's a really big push here in Texas because so many people come from all around the world to come to Houston for cancer treatment because Houston has the largest medical center in the world and supposed to have some of the best cancer doctors, specialized doctors. So a lot of parents here are pushing and lobbying for medicinal marijuana for their children. And I know eventually it will pass. It's just going to take a while because Texas is Texas. But with so many states now approving it, I think it's like up to like 29 states now. Let's see, Florida, Arkansas, and North Dakota all voted in favor of medicinal cannabis. But I'm saying now, if Arkansas can approve medicinal marijuana, then you know Texas should. My goodness. But see, Arkansas approves, like gaming. And Tennessee lost all of that. Tennessee was supposed to have those casinos that Mississippi has. But you got these old fake Christians in Tennessee that don't want to approve gaming or medicinal marijuana. And I really think that people should be able to have access to medicinal marijuana. I really, really do. If all of these other killer pharmaceuticals are provided to people, then why can't an herb be provided to people?
And a natural herb.
A natural herb.
Yeah. And
yeah,
my point,
in its true form.
Right. And one of the problems I have with that is that it's just like when you look at the prohibition of alcohol, when the suffrage movement came, the prohibition movement came, and they decided that they were going to take alcohol off of the shelf for a period of time because it was untaxed. It was untaxed. They didn't know how to tax it. And see, that's like I told somebody today, the main purpose of the government is economics. The main purpose of the government is economics based on white supremacy because they control the government regardless of how many people we send to Congress. They control the economics of that commodity. So when you're controlling the economics, we have to ask ourselves a legitimate question and saying to ourselves, what do we control? And the bottom line is that we don't control anything because we have no means of being selective in trying to control anything. And it's sad because we've been here forever. We've been here forever.
Ever.
And there have been many tricks played on us as a people, and we have succumbed to the wishes of these people in every form of fashion, trying to religiously find a way to blend in with them that doesn't work. And after so many endeavors to accomplish a goal that's not going to ever be rectified, what do you do? We've been sitting around holding our thumbs and our fingers for years, trying to figure out which slave master is going to be the best one for us. And the answer is, like Dr. John Henry Clark said, you don't do nothing but trade slave master, because one slave master you feel going to be better than the next slave master, but that makes you still a slave, hoping for some European person of European descent to take you under their wings and make you free. Well, freedom only comes to those who want to be free. And if you don't want to be free, then you will remain a slave.
You will remain a slave. Canty just joined us on the line. Let me make sure that his mic is open. And
I've been listening to you. Hello, I've been listening to you guys for a while. Hey, Brown and Queen Mother.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
All right. I totally agree with the discussion. We as a people, in the wake of what happened last night, got to ask ourselves, are we really going to go for the okey doke and understand what it really means to be in a real trick that we are letting the enemy define our goal of being free? This whole scenario where they are really pulling a real trick on us when they had suppressed the black voters from voting. This was not something new that was suppressing the black vote. You guys remember what happened in Florida, November 2000?
Yes.
And then a black man named Ken Blackwell, 2004, he disenfranchised his own people. There was no consequences for those actions that this black man disenfranchised his own black people.
Who did you say now?
This man named Ken Blackwell, who was the former Secretary of State of Ohio in November 2004, in order to keep his promise to George W. that he would be able to make sure that George W. become a second-term president. In order to keep his promise to George W., he disenfranchised his own black people in the election of November 2004. And it just bothers me that Michael Moore told Amy Goodman on her broadcast, Democracy Now!, that he was going to crisscross Ohio after what happened in Florida, November 2000. He was going to be crisscrossing with his cameras, showing what happened during the re-election vote for George W. And blacks were disenfranchised, tens of thousands. And Michael Moore didn't say a mumbling word. And we have now, it happened last night, it was clear that tens of thousands of black people were disenfranchised. Only one voting poll in various counties in Ohio to vote. I was told by you, my dear sister, that Hillary didn't spend any money to bring the campaign so that people would know that this was important for her to get elected. But our people.
The thing about it
care.
is, Hillary, she took this election for granted.
Thank you.
Again, she thought that she had the black vote and the Latino vote in the bag. Hillary Clinton's camp, we did not see them in Ohio until 2 weeks ago. And you guys know I've been in Ohio since September 19th. There was a group that came out before me a month ahead of that date. There was no ground game, nothing happening. There were no yard signs to give out to people. All you saw was plenty of Trump Pence signs. There were no yard signs for the people, no T-shirts. If you recall back in 2008, and I worked on that election in Philadelphia, we delivered yard signs. We took people to the polls, all of that, T-shirts, whatever you name it, for Obama. They put out all stops, calls, door knocking, canvassing, all of that. Hillary took this election for granted. They did that campaign, her campaign, Hillary's campaign, did not put in the work. They did not. I have some colleagues in Florida, same exact thing. Same exact thing happened in Ohio, happened in Florida. No real ground game. She took it for granted, and that's why she got spanked.
So what can we conclude?
Let's look at another angle. To us, she got spanked. To herself, she did her job. She did what they paid her to do, and that was to rig the election.
Like she's running.
To look at the people who allowed her to help rig the election, to get everybody that was supposed to think that they had a chance out of the election, focus on her and Donald Trump, which she did very well. And the flip side of that is that it didn't make her a bit of difference one way or the other. We're the ones who were left holding the bag, thinking that, well, why did she do that to us, and why didn't she put up a better struggle? Why didn't she put up a better fight? It was not for her to put up a fight.
Yeah.
Well, my view on it is it's all just games anyway.
That's what it is. It's just a game. Yeah. Nobody cares about us. So my point is, when will you start caring about yourself? When will you say to yourself, enough is enough? Do you wait for the next 4 years to see who's going to run, hoping and praying that somebody will come in and save you? I'm going to say something I don't want to say, but save you. But it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
But we also got to understand.
Just a second, just Scotty, the engineer. We are using a new conference tonight, and I'm just wondering where the other usual co-hosts are. And so I just want to give out that number in case they might be in the old conference line, because that is open, but that's just a listener-only line since so many people still use it. But the number to call if you are part of the Lotus Place show, want to participate in a discussion or have a question, give us a call at 866-510-9025. That's 866-510-9025. Or go to uberconference.com/Black Talk Radio Network. You'll see various means to contact the show, including a chat room. Thank you.
Yes, we have a chat room now.
But,
I
you
love
know,
it.
she was paid to do exactly what they wanted her to do. Okay. Regardless of what I was looking. Have you seen the documentary in regards to Wyclef John and Young Press? I think his name Press. That used to be with the refugees, and how they did this thing with her and Sean Penn and Bill Clinton when she was Secretary of State, and she went down there and she rigged the election up in Haiti. Have you seen that yet, Sir?
Well,
I have not seen the documentary, but I'm familiar with that whole
The documentary
situation.
is awesome, and what it does is
What's
shows.
the name of the documentary?
I saw it on Showtime. I can't. It's called Mickey. I think Mickey for President. This guy his name was Mickey something. But anyway, he was a Haitian musician, and he ran for president with the ousting of John with Aristide and the other guy that was there. He got ousted. The guy that got ousted. Well, anyway, Young Prez went and encouraged him to run for the president of Haiti. And in the process of doing that, they ran into some opposition. So they didn't have the. They went down there and they got Sean Penn, and then Sean Penn contacted Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton, he contacted Hillary. And as I'm looking at this, and this thing is unfolding right in front of my eyes, I'm saying to myself, now, people need to see this. Black people need to see this and understand how these people control elections and political climates all around the globe.
Yes.
This is not a United States issue. This is a global issue. And while we're sitting here trying to fight for some type of equality with some foolish election, what kind of ground are we gaining on our own? We're not gaining any ground. We're sitting here trying to rectify a problem that we can't do anything about. And the sad thing is that we continue to do the same thing. So we have to ask ourselves a very legitimate question. Did it benefit us to waste all of our time and efforts and money to worry about who's going to be the next president? Knowing full-fledged what these people do, and they good at it. They're professionals. Then they had a guy to come in that was a professional, I'm trying to think of the name he called himself. He was a professional campaign manager. And he spilled the beans. He said, this is what I do. He said, I go around and I make sure that people win elections. Now, how more devious can you get than that? And we're sitting
like
here in the midst of... That's what it was. We're sitting here in the midst of all this so-called education we got and all the book knowledge we got, and yet we can't catch on. If they do that in Haiti, then what do you think they're going to do here? They could care less about who wins in America. As long as their agenda is continuously
they already know who they want to be president.
Right. They already got their own game plan. It's etched in stone, and it's business as usual. And like I said, it's all about money, and the damn thing funny. They don't care nothing. I mean, why should they care about you? You don't even look. We continue to talk about this multicultural. We saw how much multicultural was yesterday at the poll. There was no multicultural. It's just like it always been, like the man said in one of the Shaft movies. He said one time was cowboys and Indians. He said now it's them and us. That's right. So that's exactly what it was yesterday. It was them versus us, and us lost.
What are your thoughts?
They can always be victorious because we have failed to plan. So when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We never studied the psychology of white supremacy. They know our psychology, but we don't know their psychology. And Automatics always says, white man speaks legalese. No, he speaks bilingual. Legalese and then military science. Legalese is natural law. Most white people believe in natural law. Military science is targeted. Are blacks the most targeted? Because we being in a country that never allowed us to have political nor legal protection. When the Irish, Italian, and Israeli came here, they didn't stop until they got those two components, political and legal protection. All this time, the best years of our lives were during the Reconstruction period, and we didn't want to believe in Martin Delany prophesied that the South was going to be able to enslave us because the North, ran by the Republicans, couldn't deal with the South to prevent a second Civil War. And they told the South, the proviso was if you wouldn't talk about ever seceding from the Union ever again, we would pull the Union troops out of the South that was guaranteeing blacks their Reconstruction rights. And then the North, ran by the Republicans, headed two parties now, told the Republicans, told the Democrats in the South, you could do to the blacks whatever you wanted to. So the lynchings began, and the Klan was reigning terror. So we have never studied our history to know that we never had a fair chance in this country. And as long as we never were debriefed after being kidnapped from Africa, after we were supposed to have been emancipated, the humane thing, if you're kidnapped and kept for a prolonged period of time to help you become a whole person again, you're supposed to be debriefed so you can know what happened to you, and hopefully you will find your way to become somewhere in some normalcy before you was kidnapped. They never did that to us. They enslaved us for being Christians the way they wanted us to be Christians. They even had these parsons that we call now pastors today, and their sermons was edited to make sure the right sermon was preached. And we have most of these pastors today that have morphed from that into becoming ecclesiastical pimps. So we have no one to blame but ourselves because we are so deaf, dumb, and blind. We can't see the trees for the forest, understanding that how do you expect to ever get anywhere when we can't even define what is our major problem in this country? And if it's white supremacy, Zionism, and apartheid, those three forces are ruthless, unrelenting, and fanatical. So we don't stand a chance because we get to identify the characteristics of the enemy and what is their aim to forever, as Chris Rock would say, forever and ever, keep us in captivity.
Well, when you talk about, you may mention Christian, made mention of us being enslaved. And through my research, what we have to understand is that when Bishop Bartholomew de las Casas sanctioned for the Catholic Church to be used as a catalyst to re-enslave, to declare war upon Africa. So you have to realize they didn't go to, people have the misconception that they went to Africa to get slaves. There were no slaves in Africa. That's what was taught to us in his storybooks. They declared war upon Africa and its people for the occupation of the Mediterranean for 700 years. So the payback was to make sure that when they went there with the Bible and the gun. And that's how we end up to where we are today, because that's what they went to Africa for. They went to Africa to capture us as prisoners of war, put us on a ship, sell us to a land that they had allegedly discovered, and then enslave us. But when you have to tell the story to our children, you have to tell the whole story.
And also include that some of us were already here. We were all around the world.
Right. But
all
that's not what they wrote in their books.
Ship.
Right. See? So when you tell a people that they were enslaved and they were heathen, and the people have no knowledge of it, it takes time to heal their wound. People have to find out through various means who they really are. And when you talk about the religious system of the Europeans, it goes back to where did it come from? And our people are caught up into believing something that really didn't exist. But you have to realize how they did it. It was a process. They didn't just go to Africa one day and pull the people out and say, now you're Christians. It was a process of getting the youth out of Africa and to retrain their minds. It was a very diabolical process, but it worked for them. It worked very well for them. And, it's still working for them. We have a problem dealing with our ancestral heritage, which does not encompass anything associative of their religious system. And if you tell some of these black people, it reminds me of one of the analogies that Malcolm X gave when he said, leave this plantation, this good white man, you must be out of your mind. And that's exactly how we're thinking today. I'm going to leave the church? Man, you got to be crazy. Why would I leave the church? And knowing, you understand me, that this is not only way to salvation. This is the only way I'm going to get to heaven. And that's how we think. That's how we are programmed to think. And
how do you think it's so difficult to unlock the minds of people? Because I remember when I was studying with certain groups back in Memphis, and I'm so glad that I was warned and taught that there's certain conversations that we'll have with some people, and then they automatically have this lock on their brain, and everything just shuts down. Nothing you say will penetrate that, and they're just stuck. And, sometimes I still try to, break that lock on their brain, and for some people, it just will not unlock, and, what are you guys? It gets frustrating, and I have to remember that. I have to remember that lesson that they have a mental lock on their brain. No matter what you say, for some people, they just will never wake up. They're not meant to wake up. They will forever be dead. They're just dead people.
That's the purpose of the word. That's the purpose of the word Negro, which actually came from the Greek, and it was a terminology which meant dead-minded. So when they went to... Go ahead.
Queen Mother Moore said, N-E in Greek means neither or never. So the white man was happy he was calling ourselves Negroes because she said in his mind, in her mind, in that white thinking mind, black people neither or never shall they grow. So, we went from verb to an adjective describing us, and the very idea that no other race is defamed in the Constitution other than us. It still says that we are 3/5. And I want to know how long it's going to take for us to snap out of it, that this brainwashing process, Queen Mother calls it oppression, psychoneurosis, damage done to our brains that we were not told how they damaged our brains with brainwashing. But we've got I got to hand it to the white man. He did a masterful job in brainwashing us.
Well, one of the things,
Yes.
back to the question that you just asked, we have to understand that teaching our people how to come away from this element requires something that we're not used to dealing with, and just calling on our ancestors for help. You know, there was a song I heard a while back by this group out of Baltimore, and I had the DVD, and one of the songs was "Open Up Your Eyes." You know, and
Open
if
up
you
your
can
eyes.
open up your eyes, that means open your spiritual eyes, and it talks about opening up your eyes through your ancestors. And when we have to sit down and learn what African spirituality is and how to apply that to our daily lives, that's something that we continue to miss the mark on. Because the only power that we have is our spiritual power. But if you don't know how to unleash that power, and that is the oldest power on earth through the universe and through natural law, the spiritual power of our ancestors. It doesn't cost anything. And we have still been reluctant to depend on our ancestors. And that's one of our major pitfalls. And in doing that, what you have to do, instead of praying to Jesus or Muhammad or whoever we've been praying to, understand the necessity of waking up every morning, asking your ancestors to bless those who are blind, that they may see, and understanding the element of Sankofa, return to the past in order to prepare for the future. And this is what we have to do. Our ancestors will open their eyes, because we definitely can't do it.
And you got to give them an offering. I think we need to take a quick break, and then we'll come right back. You're listening to the Lotus Place, and we will be right back after this break.
You are tuned in to the Lotus Place on Black Talk Radio, providing you new black media for the new millennium. If you have a question or a comment, you can give us a call at 866-510-9025. That's 866-510-9025. Or find us online at uberconference.com/Black Talk Radio Network. We will be right back on the other side of these messages.
Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, but he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, "We got a good house here," the house Negro said, "Yeah, we got a good house here." Whenever the master said "we," he said "we." That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, "What's the matter, boss?" "We sick. We sick." He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, "Let's run away, let's escape, let's separate," that house Negro would look at you and say, "Man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this?" That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. Why, you left your mind in Africa.
Okay.
Black Talk Radio since 2008, providing new black media for the masses.
All right, and we are back here at the Lotus Place, and everybody knows I just love me some Malcolm. Oh, my God. Thank you, Scotty, for playing some Malcolm X for us. And that is so true. That is so true. You have these people that have completely assimilated and identify completely with their slave masters. We sick. Master. What you say, Canty?
Brother Malcolm said in 1964, which is one of the reasons why they had to take him off the scene. He said the same ingredients that was in Hitler's Germany, 1939, was in America right now. He said that in 1964, most people don't know, especially blacks, don't know that Trump is a third-generation German, studied the philosophy of Hitler and Mussolini. And we're talking about a man whose grandfather had their last name changed to become Americanized from Dorff to Trump. And the tragedy with our people is that we fall for any old okie doke, believe that Hillary Clinton was going to be our friend when her record says she was anything, her and her husband, they were anything other than our friend. They were never our friend. And we believe, unfortunately, to reward our enemies and punish our friends. People,
and that's one thing I do commend the young people on. Some of these young people, quote unquote millennials, they actually have done the research and they just simply refuse to vote for Hillary Clinton. They said they wouldn't. They said never heal, and they meant that. And many of them, they just refused to vote.
And the sad thing about Obama, he never did anything to aid our people's struggle. A good case in point, just look at the city of Detroit. Just look at how he allowed Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae to have it their way, along with a racist, Republican, Jewish governor to destroy black lives in the where blacks was comfortable living until all of a sudden Detroit was declared bankrupt, and they had to appoint the governor. Snyderman had to appoint a city manager, Uncle Tom, bootlicking lackey, who did all he could to destroy democracy in Detroit. Look at Flint, Michigan. I mean, like, what black man do you know if he was the governor of Michigan and was allowing a predominantly white town to drink poisonous water and get away with it? What black man do you know?
And they're still drinking poisonous water, and nobody's doing anything. No one's helping them. These candidates went there like once and gave a speech, and that was it, and did nothing else for those people. So
we gotta have some difficult times because our young people are not going to take the okie doke.
No.
They know truth. They're not going to be bought off. So we're facing our unbelievable reaction to something that we should have saw this coming a long time ago, because Trump was always a fascist. And that it is clear that we will never have any peace as long as white supremacy feels they have control over our minds. And there is a rush and always a concern of controlling black people's brains.
let me welcome in, let's see if I can get her mic open. Delta, let me see if we can get Delta's mic open. Okay. Delta, let us know if you are able to join.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Delta.
Yeah.
How you doing, Sister Donna?
Hey, how everybody doing?
I'm fine. How you doing?
All right.
No,
y'all know I always have a little theory. Y'all don't think he rigged and stole it?
It was nothing to steal. First of all, what was it to steal?
No, I was saying, like, everybody was just so sure that Hillary was gonna win it.
Okay, but what I'm saying, how can you be sure? And this is what I've been trying. Me and you were talking about earlier. How can you be sure of something that you don't have an input in?
I don't know, Brother Brown. That's a good question. I don't know. But just me listening at the media and everybody else, everybody was just so sure she was going to win it, unless they were just lying.
Well, that's exactly what they were
doing.
And ain't nothing new about that. Nothing new about that.
Right. They always lie. That's their job, corporate media, lie and deceive.
That's right.
And then
they're
Black
losing
Rose, and it go back to what you said too. And I thought about it. You said almost from day one that she wasn't going to win Ohio.
I told you she wasn't going to win the election.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't.
Right.
Everybody was just so sure that she was going to win. And so what I was saying, maybe Trump had something to do with rigging it, just because Giuliani came out and he said, we're going to win and we got a surprise. We got something.
Yeah, he sure did.
You'll find out. We got something.
He had that wicked look in his face. You know he was up to no damn good. As the same way when he was mayor here in New York City, unfortunately there was not one black pastor to confront this mayor for the 8 years while he was mayor of New York City. This mayor did as he pleased. He unleashed his racist Gestapo cops, and they rained terror in the black community like at random. Killing, maiming, beating up, the whole works. And not one word from the leading black pastor while Giuliani was mayor. I always tell people he didn't have cancer. There still is a cancer. Man is a diabolical, racist, fascist dog. It's so sad that a man from an Italian background that he reminds me of, it could be like a Mussolini's nephew. He has no desire to see black people as anything other than thugs, subhuman, nothing pleasing to say about black people. And he goes through a personal vendetta against black men in particular. His first wife was his cousin. That was bad enough. But when they broke up, she left him for a black man who was a professor at York College. They didn't get married. They just went off together. And he was livid that a black man was with this woman. And the idea that black people right now got a man who could become the Attorney General. You know he's jockeying for to become the next Attorney General. And we just have to strategize how we're going to deal with this man. Oh, by the way, y'all, they're having massive demonstrations in Midtown Manhattan, get Midtown Manhattan tied up.
Yes, yeah, I did want to mention that thousands of demonstrators took to the streets in Manhattan on Wednesday night.
People being arrested, and see, we haven't gotten to the man's inauguration, but I can see now tons of buses convening down to Washington, protesting this man. But you see, we also have to formulate an economic boycott. No need in being angry that this man is in the White House and we still going to spend our dollars.
Let me ask you one question before you get any further. Let me ask you a question about this boycott, because this is where we have to understand strategy.
Yeah.
When we boycott, look at the Montgomery bus boycott.
Right.
Okay. When we boycotted the buses in Montgomery, Alabama, when they called for the boycott, we had an alternative to replace it. Anytime you have a boycott, you have to have an alternative for the people, especially with a commodity like food or whatever you have that you can boycott a major store or whatever you're going to do. You have to understand what is going to replace it.
I hear you.
If you have nothing to replace it, your boycott will be unsuccessful because your people and your children will suffer.
You have to tear out a page from history.
People have to go and buy their supplies.
Yeah. We have to tear out a page from history the way that our people did it in Montgomery, Alabama. Like you said, Brother Brown.
They had something to replace it. They had their own automobiles, their own taxi services. They had everything lined up. They strategized so that when you didn't ride the bus or you walked, somebody was there. Even the funeral directors and black funeral directors pulled their cars together and took the people back and forward to work. So you have to have a plan.
We had our own
you have to have an alternative to replace that with.
Yeah, I think Delta had another question.
Yeah.
What's up,
today on NBC, Reverend Al Sharpton came out today, and I was telling Mr. Brown, he jumped up and he talking about he was even really irrelevant. You didn't even hardly see him during the election time. They just about took him off the air. But anyway, now he talking about he's calling all the black head officials together. They is going into an emergency meeting tonight. The NAACP, all different black people that's in leadership, all different black organizations. They all meeting and finish strategize and try to figure out a way where Trump and them won't do no damage to the Voting Rights Act. Well, they already done a lot of damage. Why they didn't strategize then?
Thank you.
What Voting Rights Act? This is what I keep trying to explain to y'all. The vote don't count. So you sitting there.
Took away.
You never had a vote.
They took away the guts in the civil rights, voting rights act. They took away they removed the guts out of it, and there was no protest.
Are you listening to what I'm saying, my brother? You never had a Voting Rights Act. It was a concession based upon an amendment to the Constitution. That's all you had. Your vote never counted. So while you're sitting here for the last 400 years trying to make your vote count, these people have made economic progress 5,000 times above what we have. While we're sitting here not understanding that our vote don't count.
So we never strategized how we are going to get concession demands, understanding the philosophy and the strategy of concession demands. We just voted in wait and see. We're the only people that voted in wait and see. Never did we ever have concession demands. So I was going to say, if Clinton had made it to the White House, I was going to say the first day after she gets into the White House, we would have demonstrations, let her know that we're not going to take, she's not going to take our votes for granted, to demand that we have issues that must be resolved. But now we got a fascist in the White House, a showing of fascists that our vote has never been, like you said, we never really had a vote to be counted. They just use us as cannon fodder. But now they don't need us anymore. We are in the same position that Marcus Garvey warned us not to become. He warned us about becoming a surplus race of people. What do you do with the surplus? You get rid of it. They don't need us anymore. And they hate us because we have survived all this time, but our brains are not in the position to deal with this, to counter this white supremacist and this fever that America is in the same mode that Germany was in 1939. White people have the propensity to scapegoat rather than face the reality that capitalism is on its dying bed, and it takes, no matter what color you are, you're going to go down because capitalism will suck your blood until you are completely destroyed. There is no way we're going to survive with this capitalism that exploits our people, blacks in particular, because we've been here longer than anybody else, and we still don't know how the game is played. Still don't know.
Well, that's so true. Now, one thing I agree with Trump when he said that the election system is rigged, and he was totally not lying about that. It is. It's all rigged. It's all set up. It's all, in my opinion, based on what I've witnessed.
He got to know when the Republicans, everywhere the Republican states are being ran by Republicans, they had this voter suppression. Voter suppression. And how you going to have, like in Ohio, a front-line battleground state, only one voting poll for each county in Ohio?
One polling station open. That was ridiculous. The lines were ridiculous.
That's miles long. So unless you was wearing layers of Depends, or you had a hell of a bladder, you brought some food with you in a backpack. There was no way you're going to get inside. The weather wasn't threatening, but it was still the idea that you was outside all that time, standing on your feet.
And people have to arrange for babysitters and.
Thank you.
And things like that. People have to go to work.
Yes. So Trump, this man talks out of both sides of his mouth, but he never will deal with the fact that he has great difficulty with black people being seen as his equal. He has great difficulty. He won't even concede that the Central Park 7 was never guilty. They were innocent young men. We keep letting the white man rewrite the history, calling Central Park 5. When they were first arrested, it was 7 of them. And that we have to understand that they will never, ever, this man will never, ever see us as his equal because this man is a blood-curdling fascist. And race is got to be dealt with. And the late, great Dr. Bill Jones, he said, the white man can compromise everything, rationalize everything except race. And Donald Trump is the epitome. What's wrong with white men is that they see black men as the number one arch nemesis. And I always tell black women, tell their sons and nephews and brothers, the reason why they fear black men is because they have a weapon that God gave them, and it wasn't the nuclear bomb. And that weapon that God gave the African man that got the white man so scared of us, out of fear comes hatred, is that weapon that we have, black men have, it hangs between his legs. And you got these brothers running around with white women. They don't understand that when the deal goes down with the final solution to hopefully that he thinks they're going to rid his problem of getting rid of black people by this mass genocide call for mass annihilation, don't say it can't happen because it already happened before. And that right now we are the most vulnerable in this country.
Where did that happen at?
During the days of Reconstruction, there was when we lost our Reconstruction rights, there was, I don't know how many hundreds it was. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, my brother, because I know you a very well-read person. Did you understand what the Reconstruction movement was?
Well, it was supposed to be giving us some kind of compensation for slavery.
The Reconstruction of White Supremacy. There's a book called about Benjamin Tillman, the senator, the terrorism them white folks was doing in South Carolina, but it was called, the name of it is, I think it's Ben Tillman, the Reconstruction of White Supremacy. That's what it was, reconstructing white supremacy in the South. That's what I think, Brother Brown.
And you're exactly right. We are duped by words because we do not study history. We had nothing to reconstruct. The purpose of the 1876 Reconstruction period, when it ended, was to bring the South back into the fold of this country, take the monies from that was profited by the North by winning the war, return that money to the South. Reconstruct means to rebuild. They rebuilt the element of white supremacy in the South. They changed the laws, make a Jim Crow a nationwide law. And they lied to us and told them that Reconstruction was a period of us to have our rights. Nothing ever changed with the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. They still on the books. So don't take that for granted thinking that this was a Reconstruction period. Because we had nothing to reconstruct. The war was mainly fought in the South. From Virginia all the way back to Mississippi. That's where the majority of the Civil War was fought at. Because what they had to do was, in order to free the so-called Negro, as we thought, they had to turn around and economically empower the same white people that they had disenfranchised.
Thank you.
That's why they call it
Wasn't there an escalation in lynches during the Reconstruction period?
Post-Reconstruction, that's when it happened.
Yeah, they did all of that, but the point I'm trying to make is that it was never to benefit us. There was no, we didn't have anything to reconstruct. We had nothing to look forward to.
I mean, that's why all those lynchings that was brought up earlier, the lynchings you were talking about, the terrorism and the lynchings. And I mean, there is no period where black people had a break. Okay, they never abolished slavery, number one, if you read the 13th Amendment. That was the North cutting a deal with the South to let them reconstruct slavery under the black codes and what people calling Jim Crow. Okay, so a lot of us, like Brother Brown said, man, we may even know some of these things, but we don't see it in the proper context. So from 1865, I say it was a 10-year period, and that's when the chain gangs and they started passing the black codes in the states called the 13th Amendment. If you want to put them in slavery, you got to convict them of a crime. So that's when all of these victimless crimes got put on the book in that 10-year period, and they start putting us right back into slavery. But what Brother Brown on the Reconstruction, at one time, the black troops was whooping ass down here. They used a lot of black Union troops, former enslaved Africans and free blacks. It was a lot of them here in North Carolina. But Lincoln and them, or after Lincoln got assassinated, the next president, they withdrew. They withdrew the federal troops from the doggone South, and that's when the KKK was unleashed upon black America. But, man, wow, people don't understand. We didn't have no golden period. There always been free black people who did a little bit better than other people, just like today. But for the most part, black people been terrorized and enslaved for our entire existence on this continent.
Hey, we are experts on terrorism because when the Klan was unleashed, the North told the South, could do to the blacks whatever you wanted to, just don't ever talk about ever secede from the Union, And we had never seen such horrific terror after our Reconstruction rights was taken away from us. It was intensified.
I keep telling you, my brother, we never had no Reconstruction rights.
All right, well, this is what they claim. They say it was.
Come on, if we're going to learn from it, let me say this as a people. If we're going to learn, okay, then we have to be adamant about understanding truth. Now, this man has lied to us. These people have lied to us relentlessly for I don't know how many years. But it is time for us to wake up and smell the coffee because things are not getting any better. And we can sit here and go round for round, but my problem, the whole element is, where is the plan?
The bottom line.
We have
to formulate a plan.
Right.
Well, Reverend Sharpton, we can wait for him.
We don't even need to mention people like that because that's a waste. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't mention people like Reverend Sharpton and Jesse James because you know what? It's too many things that we have to really focus on. I don't focus on bullshit. Excuse my language, because that is a waste of energy.
Yeah.
That is a waste of time. I don't look at them on TV. I already know what time of day it is. We have a whole generation of misled youth. We talk about our
not
youth
just
protests.
youth, though, Brother Brown.
Huh?
You got some misled adults,
That's
too.
right. Adults.
Yeah, well, we know what.
Misled
Sometimes we
adults.
got to write some of them off. And I'm going to be honest with you, because we can't change their mind. I'm more concerned about the young people because their minds are fresh. Their minds are like
that's what
sponges.
Frederick Douglass said.
Right. See, I'm not worried about somebody my age who ain't caught on yet, because it ain't my job to teach them. I got to, it's just like, I'm a gambler. I play cards for a living. You got to know when to fold and know when to hold. You can't play every hand.
You got to know when to fold them, know when to hold them.
That's right.
Know when to walk away.
And I play poker, and I see people that sit there every night and lose their money because you know what they do? They try to play every hand. And every hand ain't meant to be won. So the hand we feel like we can win, they the hand that we play. But we cannot sit back and continuously deal with Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson and worry about what they're doing, because guess what? These are well-paid Negroes.
Oh, yeah.
They're well-paid. And, they ain't sharing shit with nobody. Excuse my French, but they're not going to try to do nothing but what they've been doing. They followed Hillary. They followed Bill. I remember when Bill Clinton was charged with whatever he did to that little girl that time, and them niggas was running around there, Vernon Jordan, them running around there crying on TV. See, and I laughed my hind part. I said, why are they crying for this white man? It made no sense to me because this man, whatever he did, that's on him. They knew they weren't going to impeach him. And Jesse Jackson was sitting up there crying and, they're going to impeach the president. And I said something that I can't say on the radio. But that's what I said, and that's what I meant. Who cares? But like Scott just said, they didn't start hanging us doing Reconstruction. The Klan wasn't part of Reconstruction. The Klan was organized before Reconstruction. Nathan Bedford Forrest was organized before Reconstruction.
Confederate general.
During that period of time, the people didn't care nothing about no Negroes. And they still don't care nothing about us.
Never did and never will.
No, they could care less.
They have no conscience, no moral fortitude, no ethical values. I have connected the dots, y'all. This film that was deliberately blacked out or whited out so that black people couldn't go see it, only search high and low for it. The film is called Hillary's America. It was based on the hidden secrets of the Democratic Party and the treacherous, deceiving tactics of the Clintons. This film even had a sister playing Ida B. Wells. She was not a well-known actress, but she played the role so convincingly, and her the scene of Ida B. Wells was quite dominant in this film. If you ever get it on Netflix or see someone selling it or how you can get it, please see this film called Hillary's America, because none of the leading theaters here in the New York City area was showing it. It's only at this one theater out of all the theaters, shown on this one theater in Times Square. And I saw it twice because I was so baffled. I had to see it a second time. It was a documentary showing that the founder of the Democratic Party was none other than Andrew Jackson. Most blacks don't even know who was the founder of the Democratic Party. They don't even know why they're voting Democrats. But the founder of the Democratic Party was this racist dog named Andrew Jackson. And he was a major exterminator. As many Native Americans that he could get his hands on, he did just that, exterminated them. Then he was a vicious slave owner. The idea that there was the lynchings that was going on during the days of post-Reconstruction. Ida B. Wells was a fervent fighter against lynchings. He confronted Woodrow Wilson. All that is in the film. I mean, it was a very touching film, but it also showed the shenanigans of Clinton and all that good.
Well, can you hold that thought? We are overdue for our break, and so we need to take that station identification break. Thank you. You're listening to the Lotus Place radio show on Black Talk Radio Network. Remember, we are the #1 independent digital black radio network that you will find on the planet. Make sure that you tell other people. You know the problems with the media that our people are consuming. We say we need this, we need our own that. Well, we have Black Talk Radio, so make sure you tell your friends about it, and maybe they will become less confused about this system that was built on slavery and racism. We'll be right back on the other side of these messages. Black Talk Radio Network is made possible in part with help from the Black Talk Media Project, a North Carolina-based nonprofit engaged in the production and distribution of independent digital black media. Find out more by going to blacktalkradionetwork.com or blacktalkmediaproject.org and look for the menu tab, Crowdfunding Black Media. Black Talk Media Project, helping to provide you with new black media for the new millennium. You are tuned in to Black Talk Radio, new black media for the new millennium.
Right, and we're back here at the Lotus Place radio show, and we encourage you to go on blacktalkradionetwork.com so that you can tune in to the other radio shows that are broadcast on this network, as well as that's the place for you to join up for the BTR social experience. If you enjoy Facebook, then you will certainly enjoy BTR, where you can join and also sign up for friends. You can share news stories, your messages and content, just like you would on any other social media site. So we encourage you to definitely go on to blacktalkradionetwork.com and join up for BTR. So Hillary Clinton had 228 electoral college votes. Donald Trump has 279. I thought earlier he had more than that, but whatever. 279. And some of the key states, TNT, let's see, Arizona, 50% for Trump. Florida, 49%, which in 2012, Obama won Florida. North Carolina, where Scotty is, 51% for Trump.
South Carolina.
Romney won North Carolina in 2012. New Hampshire, with its 4 electoral college votes. Trump won 47%, Hillary Clinton 48%, Obama won North Carolina in 2012, Nevada 6 electoral college votes. Hillary was able to pull that one off. Obama won Nevada in 2012 as well. Ohio, 18 electoral college votes. She lost 52% for Trump. Obama won Ohio in 2012. Pennsylvania, 20 electoral college votes. Hillary Clinton, 48%, Trump, 49%. Obama, of course, won Pennsylvania in 2012. Utah, 6 electoral college votes. Hillary Clinton only won 28%. Trump won 47%. Those are the key states. I was really shocked, though, about Pennsylvania.
She never came to the followers. They know they were staying up all late hours at the campaign, at the victory celebration, which turns into a defeat. She never greeted the people. She let her campaign chairperson greet the people to tell them go home. You know, and she held a press conference today, but it was all nothing about how she was disappointed with the way the key states that she lost. There was no question raised, well, how could you have lost states that Obama won? And that Bruce Springsteen, he was asked, well, why weren't you at these rallies a long time ago to help promote her campaign? He said he was never asked. So when he came to Ohio at the last minute, you know,
my problem, brother, let me stop you for a minute. My problem is this. Why do we keep doing the same thing, asking these white people why they won't dare to support our efforts? See, that something is wrong psychologically with that question. We keep going right back to the same thing of begging the descendants of our former enslavers to ask them why they're not doing something for yourself.
You know, I understand we are begging her. I understand that it shows you that she was so arrogant that she
wasn't arrogant. It was a plan. We just weren't part of it. I mean, why do we need to keep going around for that? This was a plan by white supremacy. We can study history, we can study physics, we can study anything we want. This was their plan. Now, if we don't understand this history by now, when we talk about white supremacy, if we don't understand this, there's no sense in us even having a program.
All this time,
remember, we beating a dead horse.
All this time, it was a shame and a sham. She had no desire to win the election.
Well, I tell you what. Well, you know what? In 4 more years, we can try this again and see if it works.
No, it
guys, I think you're right, Brother Brown, because I kind of got a clue when the president-elect Hitler too was getting all this free publicity from the media.
Yeah.
You know, they were just basically giving him free media. I knew then something was up, stinking. And I said from the beginning he would be the one.
Well, the trick is on us. Because we fell. How many times have we fallen for the same game? See, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We continue to go for the same game. Yeah, over and over and over. And if you do something over and over, get the same results. It's called insanity, and we are a damn insane bunch of people.
But explain the cycle too, Brother Brown. Like we were talking about, it's a cycle that they have. It's Republican, then Democrat, then Republican.
Right, and that's the way it goes.
That's why we were saying the other night that all of this, they already know who's. First of all, you have to be in a certain blood lineage to even be able to
become the president.
Absolutely. So,
and you know, it goes back to European racism. I mean, it's nothing strange about it.
Mm-hmm.
They know the Queen of England, this country belongs to England. Okay, don't get it twisted. There was never a civil war, never a revolutionary war. It was the war to declare who was going to rule this country and how they were going to rule it. This man
We're never going to vote for Hillary Clinton to be president any darn way.
No, she knew she wasn't going to be president. She knew it better. It's like when Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson ran for president. They knew damn well they weren't going to be president.
Right.
No.
What did they get us to do? They got us to run around with that foolishness talking about we're going to have a black president, Jesse running. Run Jesse running, all that stupidity. Jesse ran right out there, got him some money, and went on back in the house. And every time something don't go right, we're going to say there's some voter suppression. It sure was some voter suppression.
Well, black people didn't get out and vote. That's why I said the other week. I
We
don't
only
want to
make
hear
up
that crap
12%
about
of the
black
population, and if anybody in here has ever taken a pie and split it up, 12% ain't but 2 slices out of 8.
All the game.
So you got 6 more slices. So if I got 6 slices of pie and you got 2, then who got the controlling interest? I do. So am I going to let you control me after making you my slave for over 600 years? No. I'm going to keep you in a position of disenfranchisement, because guess what? It ain't nothing you can do about it. You ain't going back to Africa.
Does everyone agree that we can influence local politics, but not the presidential election?
Right. That's your best shot is on the local level.
That's right.
That's it.
We have to be engaged in local elections.
Yeah, we have to have
like when the midterms come.
We have to have discipline to understand what the issues are. Our people don't know what the issues are, even locally. We know that we are being gentrified out of our community, but we don't have no idea how this is part of white supremacy. We keep saying gentrification, but if that's not the only thing, it's hooked up with the privilege of white supremacy. They can come into our neighborhood, gentrify our neighborhood, and these landlords getting this gentrification fever, not renew your lease and get you to now move out. Where you're going to go, I don't know. But the idea is that they are forcing black people to leave their apartments with no chances of getting a renewal of their lease. And where are you going to move to that you can afford the rent? So now we have all this homelessness. There's a reason why there's a humongous homelessness problem. I was astounded, and that was not too long ago in Atlanta. People sleeping in cemeteries.
It's not your community if you leasing or renting, or it may be a bunch of black people congregated and living there, but it's not really their community if they don't own nothing.
No, exactly. And so, listen, I go to a church called the Riverside Church, and I am in there to deal with, I found out that this church here has been an accommodationist or facilitated Columbia University to turn West Harlem into White Harlem. It has completely gotten rid of the black population except in the grant housing projects. And the Cotton Club, which is owned by a black brother named John Beatty, told me that over his dead body he would allow to give Columbia the satisfaction of closing down the Cotton Club. Then you also have this big McDonald's on the 125th Street in Broadway, which probably is the most affordable meal most blacks that live in the housing projects can afford to eat. The very idea that the housing projects, called the grant housing projects, haven't had gas. 3 buildings are without gas for months now, cooking gas. And there's been no concern from 2 churches, one up on the hill, which is Riverside, and then one down the hill called Antioch Baptist. And it's just astounding that our so-called leadership in Sharpton, this guy named the state senator, what's his name? Charlie Rangel. Nothing is going on to deal with how the hell do you have a housing project without gas for months, since August. And they only gave the people just a single plate, hot plate, to cook the food. You got senior citizens, many of them who are on special diet. And, it is clear that we don't have any concern from our leadership to deal with a crisis that Columbia University could care less about the housing project having no gas, because you see, Columbia's game is to turn Westside Harlem into White Harlem. And most people don't even know that Columbia University, the original name was King's College, named after King George. And they did have slavery on that campus, slaves building the ships. It was involved with the slave trade, all of the above to get their riches. And God knows the land that Columbia owns. It's astounding what that college has been able to get away with. And I'm sure they saw blacks coming into Harlem as defenseless squatters. So, the state senator is John Perkins, who I thought was a progressive guy, but far from it. We're dealing with the tragedy of lack of leadership. Columbia's goal will be successful in completely turning West Harlem into White Harlem.
I want to hear before we get ready to close out shortly, some more Mother Hattie's thoughts on the election, because she's just joining us.
Yeah. How you doing, Mother Hattie?
Do you have any thoughts?
I'm great. Well, I've been on the regular line there, and then I heard him say, call 866, and I was driving. I couldn't write it down, so I'm just now getting it. I've been listening, but I couldn't talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a new system, and some kind of way, I don't know, the page flipped out, closed on me, and then I opened it back up, and I saw you were there. I said, oh, there's Mother Hattie. Let me open up her mic. So I apologize. I can't see how long you've been holding on or anything like that. But I did see you there and went directly to you. So your thoughts on the election?
Well, my thoughts are on the election. I'm kind of in Mr. Brown's ballpark on this, because I think it was planned from the outset to tell this nation two things. No woman is going to run this. The white male power system is going to keep doing what it's doing. And like he said, we're not going to go back to Africa. And if we do, it's a multinationalist situation around the globe. If you do go there, what's going to happen there? Look what happened to Liberia, the first Africans that went to Africa from here. Marcus Garvey. They went there, and they did just what the white system did to the people that were native there. So, I don't know. I just think we got a lot of educating, and I'm with Mr. Brown on it. We got to talk with the youth. We got to, those of us who are people with consciousness have to get in and help the young people, because the ones who aren't conscious, why waste your time? Why bother? They can catch it if they catch it, and if they don't, they don't. Because we got to do some things for ourselves.
Well, one of the things I'm looking at is that in reference to our history and who we are, the first thing we have to do is get rid of this identity crisis we got.
And what do you mean by identity crisis that we have?
Well, we have to go back to understanding who we are, what our ancestors represented to us. Go back and if we have to do research. But the major thing is to understand that we need to be taught who we are.
Brother Brown, would it be more simpler for them to, not to say that they shouldn't get to that step, but the first step that I see many people need to recognize is who they ain't, and who you ain't is an American.
Well, that was my next question. See, I have a thing that I say to people: learn who you are, as opposed to being told who you were. See, all our lives we've been Negroes, and we never knew the definition of it other than what we learned when we said Spanish and Portuguese. But you have to remember, before the Spanish and Portuguese even thought there was an Africa, you had the Greek who went over there and developed that name for Necro, which they derived and call it Negro. But the Greek was the first one to derive that word, and it meant to be dead. So we have to understand, as the late Bobby Wright said, he who defines words rule. It's just like I tell people about religion and spirituality. Who told you you were a Christian? Who told you you were a Muslim? Learn these things and then realize that beyond all of that, you have something that nobody else on this planet possesses, and that's African spirituality. They can call it hoodoo, voodoo, or whatever they want to call it. It belonged to the descendants of African people. And it was a spiritual connection with the Creator through the universe and through energy. And these energies have been used for hundreds and hundreds of years before the European came out of cave and learned how to walk on 2 feet.
I think our brothers in Haiti was able to whip Napoleon's behind.
Okay, well, look at what I'm saying, brother, is that will we take that example and run with it? We keep talking about the white man ain't do this and the preacher didn't do this. Put them people on the shelf and let them stay there. Because we've been talking about them for, I've been hearing, I'm 63 years old. I've been hearing the same shit, excuse my language, for 63 years. It is time to change our conversation. As Scott has said, we can't keep talking about this stuff and not have a plan. Our plan is to educate those who need to be educated. Tell them who they were as opposed to being told who they are. Tell them who they are and tell them who they were not. But people will have to accept the truth. Now, if you can't accept the truth, then people need to get out of the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you can't accept the truth and get on a game plan, forget about Hillary, forget about Trump. These people are going to do what they do best, and that is to get rich by any means necessary. And while we're sitting around on our empire complaining about them having power and them doing this and them doing that, the question that I have, what are we doing? See, I don't have a whole lot of time to complain. I stopped complaining 35 years ago. Because complaining don't do nothing but create stress. And stress will cause you to be in a grave. So instead of complaining, I had learned years ago how to find solutions to problems. And our struggle is just like a math problem. You're presented with a problem, then you come up with a plan to find a solution to the problem. That's how we need to look at our struggle. And if we're not going to look at that, if we're going to sit down and worry about the Al Sharpton, the Justin Jackson, and Preacher Bobo, and Reverend Chicken Wing, if we're going to worry about them, then we're going to be messed up for the next 100 years, talking about the same old foolishness, doing the same old thing, and trying to find another slave master that's better than the last one.
Well, let's have some closing commentary, and we'll go ahead on and close out. Let me see. Delta, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. And I was listening at everything y'all was saying, and I was thinking, let's try to, since we can't break the ceiling to the White House, let's start in our local elections, start trying to work there to make changes in our local elections, because they have the biggest policies effects on us in our community. So that's where I really think we need to start. And like how they voted to share about Joe Piper, if I'm saying his name right. The one was calling
Apaya.
The one in Arizona?
Yeah.
Apaya. He was, thank God he was defeated.
And they voted him out. He thought he was going to stay, and he got voted out. And so that's good. That's a good thing in our local election. So I think, like Brother Brown and different ones say, let's start working on our local elections.
No, let's start learning who we are. Forget about the election for right now, because that ain't gonna solve no. We got major problems with us. If we can't get us straight, we can vote till the world end. It ain't gonna help change the situation.
Knowing who we are, an identity crisis.
And like I said, we sitting around and we keep talking about what this one man, white man, ain't doing. And I mean, I've been hearing that for 63 years. And now that we have knowledge and we have some knowledge of who we are as a people, what are we gonna do with it?
Right. Yep,
What
so
are we gonna do with the knowledge that we have?
I would say I agree with you, Brother Brown, and let's get more into learning about us, and like Scotty said, who we are not, and learn
That's
who
right.
we are, and take it from there.
Yeah. It's very important that we have our true identity ingrained in our heads, because our young people, they are angry, but they don't have no one steering them to help them be clear about who they are and what they must be about. I mean, I thank God that they didn't go for the okie doke that Hillary was trying to get them to go for. So it's like, we have to become very clear about who we are and then whose we are. A very clear definition about redefining ourselves.
Redefining ourselves. Don't let anyone define you. Define yourself.
That's it.
Well,
exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to conclude.
Can I add one more piece before we do that?
Yes.
Could we also agree on something, just one thing? If we could just agree on one thing and take it from there. Unity. Thank you.
Unity.
That's a good one.
All right. Well, maybe when we come back next week, we can talk about that unity and knowing who we are and who we are not. I like that.
We're going to have to. We're going to need it. For the next 4 years, we're going to need it.
All right. Well, we will talk again, good people. I'm getting ready to enjoy being back in Houston.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Wow.
Yes.
We can leave.
So happy.
We leaving when? You leaving when?
No, I just came back. I just made it back this evening.
Bless you.
I hadn't even been home, 3 hours, so came in and got right on the line to get on the line with you good people.
We are impressed. Thank you, Black Rose.
Got off the plane and came on in. So look, I'm back in Houston. I put on for my city. I'm so happy to be here. And peace, good night, and namaste. Peace.